Okay, here's your jumpers with weaves run from Friday the 4th. Looks like she had got called on the weaves there. That was pretty nice. Okay, that was a really nice run, actually, except for those stupid weave bowls. I think you cued everything pretty nicely. She enters wrong, and it's always a little bit of a guesswork if you want to have a dog go back into the weaves, and it really depends on the dog's personality and their drive and that sort of thing. With how she was running on this run, I probably would have taken her back and made her do the weaves again. If she's running really, really, really pokey, then I probably wouldn't. So it's sort of a gray area with her because she definitely can look very different from run to run. But I probably would have taken her back and made her do them. But I don't completely disagree with that you didn't make her go back, just given her personality. I thought you cued this really nice. I think you could have gotten up to your blind cross position a lot sooner. So you send her, and you're actually stopped for a split second and waiting for her. So while she's in that tunnel, I mean, you don't need a ton of time because you're clearly ahead of her. But while she was in that tunnel, you probably could have moved up to where you are now so that when she came out, she saw you up by this purple jump. And you would have to sort of gauge your strides and alter your strides so that you would sort of stay moving through this area. And you did that pretty nicely, but I think you could have probably cued the blind here a little bit sooner than you did. I don't think it was bad, but I think you could have, I think it could have been a tiny bit tighter, but barely. It was pretty nice, Kathy, so it was pretty nice. And you do a good job of just sort of hanging with her. Now, I do think that here you could have done a blind instead of a rear. Because you are pretty capable of getting ahead of her. So I think, see how you're kind of slowing down and you're waiting and you're waiting and waiting. I think that when you put her into the tunnel, you could have come straight over to this jump and been sort of maybe not standing there still, but cueing the jump when she was coming out of the tunnel. That would have put you a little bit ahead. And if you would have cued it, she would have been fine taking it. And I think you could have easily done a blind in these two instead of doing this rear where you're decelerating just a tiny, tiny bit and making her go in front of you. And then when you do the rear cross, watch your line of motion. It's pretty sharp that way. See how it's pretty sharp and you're kind of almost at that wing. It's really hard to see on this video, I'm sorry, from where it was taken. But the next jump is this jump. So it's kind of far out there, and to do sort of a driving rear cross that doesn't require a tight turn, you would need to suck into all of these jumps, like really tight, like you're going to touch the stanchions. And then from this jump, this non-winged jump, try to send her ahead so that you could cross really shallowly behind her and then drive out to this next one. And that's not really what you did. And she read it just fine and everything is fine. But I'm just thinking if I always strive to be better than just fine or okay. So I think you could have easily done a blind cross in this space right here. So I'm just gonna back it up to the tunnel so you can see that. So to do the blind, you would have had to, when she goes into the tunnel, race up to that next jump instead of sort of holding back and waiting for her. So that when she came out of the tunnel, you were presenting that jump and it was obvious to her. And then you could have done a blind right there. And what you did was fine. It was actually a pretty nice run. And, I had to find something to say.